Well, good evening, everybody. I like to say good evening. It's more of a good afternoon here on this post-snowy day here, Shay. This is the Jimmy Palumbo Show, and this is show number 203. Well, good evening, everybody. It's a good one here, Shay. All fans 18 and over. It's so good to be here. Show number 203, which, of course, I could say Babe Ruth. But I got some trivia for Dave Sturchill here. Because you act like you know about sports, but I don't think you're this good. You're going
to expose me right now?
I'm going to expose you right now a little bit. Just, you know what? I'm going to dribble to my left. You know,
right.
I didn't beat you. Okay, now everybody knows that Babe Ruth's number's retired, right? Number 3. Sure. So the question is this: 2 questions. It's how many people wore the number 3 after Ruth left the Yankees?
Well, if it's retired, then nobody.
Wrong.
Oh, so they retired it a little later after he left. So then one guy wore it.
8. Which is why this show is dedicated to Roy Weatherly, a fine player for the Yankees. Also, George, just a lot of other guys. Also, how many people wore the number 4, Lou Gehrig, after Lou Gehrig retired or died?
Well, since Ruth went 8 times, I want to say Gehrig went 6.
It's a good guess. No one has ever worn number 4 except for Lou Gehrig. Like, I did not realize that. Thought that was funny. Also, this show's dedicated to Brad Daloiso. Venditti not only drove off the road, he's in a ditch now, very far away from the road. Kicker for the Giants. Also, Pete Gogolak, a field goal kicker. What a name, Gogolak, like field goal. Like you have to, right? But he's more famous in the Palumbo household for being one of the guys on our electric football set. Which anybody... At least 40 people just drove off the road right there who gets that joke. Which, by the way, science has revealed that 2 things about electric football. If anybody in the actual way they wanted you to play the game, you think the refs in today's NFL have trouble? You had to put this little fuzzball in the back of this little guy and shoot it towards a player, and it had to hit the player. Yeah. And a lot of times the player was 4 feet away. You shot it. It was impossible. Field goal kickers, you had to bend the guy's leg back and you had to kick this thing. Even if you had an iPhone in slow motion, you can never tell because the field goal was only like an inch wide. Way more difficult. So I'm
waiting for the commercial to air one day. Like, hello, this is whatever law firm it is. Like, if you've been exposed to electric football, you might be entitled to compensation. Just somebody like too much radiation or too much something.
Anybody who complains about being bored with their video games or something like that, just think what we had to do. First of all, the noise. And I remember my mother lowered that, and then we did it in slow motion. It was like.
Yeah,
and the guys wouldn't move.
Horrible.
And then my brother always controlled the on and off because he wanted to be like, wait, you didn't get hit yet. That's so stupid and funny.
I don't know if it was just mine, but like, I don't know if that's considered faulty, but it's like, you got him in the I formation. You're like, okay, let's see what happens here. And then you hit the on button and the running back just starts running in circles.
Yeah, in circles. You know what? I swear to God, I'm going to look. You know what? I'm going to get a gift for your son, Miles, because he's at the perfect age to destroy it. I'm going to go online and see on eBay, some of the original. They made like a remake of it that just wasn't the same. I'm going to see somebody on eBay, probably $100 is selling the original electric football, and your son will just be like, it'll be only for you to play with your son for 5 minutes. Because your kid's going to be like, Dad, what the
fuck is this? So I'm pulling it up right now. It looks like the original electric football.
Probably $200.
No, you'd be surprised, man. It looks to me that VTG Tudor electric football game. So that's the original, right? Like that would have to be it.
So. Tudor makes that rings a bell.
$60 or best offer.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna buy one of those. Just
And not
because
for
yours.
nothing, they all the more expensive shit is the complete teams. So
I
like
know. Well, we had
you're trying to buy the 67 big men Baltimore Colts, $120 on eBay.
It's the
It's
best.
amazing.
I'll
That's
play
so
by
funny.
myself.
Well, that's
Much
all
more interesting.
I think that's all I did.
I'd rather watch that than the Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl. And also for Dave's dad, another number 3 on the Cowboys is.
John Kitna.
Yeah, it's a good one. Also, your friend and mine running into the player's butt, Mark Sanchez, when he was on the Cowboys, was number 3.
Wow. Yeah.
That's something you did.
Fumble extraordinaire. Love it.
All right, show number 3 here. Show number 3, 203, the number 3. We have fun with that. I thought there was that's probably the most interesting number 1 we have besides Babe Ruth.
Sure.
I never want to use Babe Ruth because that's not how it works.
Disrespectful.
Now, I think, the reason why I'm on this earth, I really believe this, is for this next segment. Now, I have already sent my friends this stuff already because this happened about 2 hours ago. I was doing my research, and I noticed something. I was like, this is so great. This is why I should be on WFAN or on iHeart Sports Radio or whatever, because this is something if I was on WFAN or ESPN Radio, I would be talking about this on the air and say, I don't care. So the Knicks just won a big game. So what? I'm talking about your friend and mine, Mr. Joey Myers. Now, I'm going to get to something that I actually had to do. We did production work with Dave before this, which rarely happens.
And I'm completely lost at who this guy is.
All right. So anyway, Joey Myers, I have his 1988 card. Now, how many times have we done a segment of someone who was shitty, but he played 11 years? Anybody fan of my show, like, they've had this guy, he batted 235. He played 11 years, right? This guy played 2 years. Okay? Played 2 years. And 6 years in the minors. He was a DH and a first baseman. Very Steve Balboni-esque. So then I know right away, Venditti's off the road again once he got out of the ditch. 2 years, he batted 251, had 18 home runs and 475 at-bats.
Okay.
Now, his rookie year, he batted 263, hit 11 home runs, 45 RBIs.
What position was he?
DH and first baseman, okay?
He's only hitting that many home runs? Yeah, that's
why.
Well,
in the minors, though, he was a prolific home run hitter. He was MVP of the Midwestern League with the Brewers. He had 30 home runs a couple times in his minor league, so he was definitely a guy hitting bombs.
This is the picture you sent me of this guy?
Yes, this
guy.
I'll
just pull that up.
There he is right there. I'll keep that. I'll take that photo off. I'll explain why I'm going to bring that photo back up. So, anyway, he's got more Ks than hits a couple seasons, which I love that. Which means he'd be making like $15 million a year now. He's the first and only player to hit a walk-off home run off Roger Clemens.
Oh, wow. That is impressive.
And now, of course, he was born in Hawaii. He is a security guard at a Maui hospital, the overnight shift. Okay. And he has 7 kids.
Jesus
and he's quoted as saying, I don't tell anybody about my time in the Major League Baseball. So I said, this is perfect guy for me on the show. Nobody knows who he is. And then I have to talk it over because I read this, okay? He holds the record for the longest home run in pro baseball history, 582 feet. That's a bomb, bro. I've seen John Carlin hit a couple of – that's 80 feet beyond John. Now,
is that the video?
Yes. So now I Googled it further, and this bring the picture of the guy up again.
Yep.
Okay, see where he's sitting? Mm-hmm. That's where he hit it. Look now. You got look how far away home plate is
for those Zephyrs. So for the Zephyrs.
For the Zephyrs, right? And so I kept on researching it, and then all of a sudden, some guy from the Denver Post decided, because it was like they painted his seat a different color at Mile High Stadium. He's played baseball there because that was the longest home run. But then the stadium got torn down. Somebody took the seat. Nobody knew where it was. But some old man working at the thing, he took it, gave it to some racetrack. The seat was all over the place. And this guy did it. The article, look it up. Joey Meyer, I think it's the Denver Post. It's any baseball fan should read this because this guy was like, I want to find out the longest because it's accurately measured where it hit. So that's how they know that. I'm sure Mantle or Ruth might have hit one, but but this is the official bomb. So now all of a sudden they found the video of it. I don't know if you can play it.
I got it.
You can do it.
Ready? Here's
It's
missile.
a long time ago. But
The missile hit by this kid. Here we go. Here we go.
Already in, and the Z's lead it 8-7 in a seesaw affair.
There.
Oh my!
This one yet.
Oh my! The upper deck. Upper deck in left field. That may be the first one I've ever seen in the upper deck.
I saw a guy named Bill Pinkert hit something like that, but never modern times. That thing has to be over 450.
First one I've ever seen in the upper deck.
There
Unbelievable.
Boy, does he get all of it. Keep in mind, 2 strikes, too. Looked like a breaking ball. Oh, my goodness. Now, there's a single fan out there. Looks like Bob Uecker. And he's
great. Anyway, see,
That's a missile.
I must have watched that 40 times. I had to send it to Venditti. I sent it to all my buddies. Anybody thinks they hit. Now, listen, I've seen, if you ever want, 2 things I've been telling my fans many years. If you're a Yankee fan, or if you're a baseball fan, and you're just lonely or tired, sitting at an airport waiting for your plane, just Google Giancarlo Stanton home runs, okay? And on YouTube, they have going all the way back from his days with the Marlins. But sometimes it's hard on TV.
When he was still Mike Stanton, but go ahead.
Okay, well, he was called Mike Stanton back then. But the funny thing is, it's not the home runs; it's what the announcers say. This guy was like, "Hey," he mentioned the name Mike Pickard. You hear that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not in the modern times. What was that like in the 30s? First of all, I know it's a thin air, mile high. I get all that.
But he goes, but the fact that he's like, that's got to be at least 450. He was 100 feet off.
And the best part is, back then, these announcers, some of these guys, the announcers weren't great players, but like they're like baseball guys. You know what I mean? Like they started out in the 40s and 50s and still doing games as old men. And you hear them, they were like, wow, hey, no, I've been doing games. In the article, there's quotes by guys who were involved with they're like, yeah, I actually coached and played at Mile High Stadium for 45 years. I never saw it. That's the kind of shit. That's why I'm a sports fan. I love that shit. But some of the Giancarlo Stanton ones, the announcer, the color guy's quiet. And he's like, hey, wow. That's I never saw one hit there. It's a guy broadcasting 1,000 games in a stadium. And he's like, I never quite saw one hit there. I love it. I always love the big fat. I would have loved this guy. Big fat fuck. And he disappeared, took a job at a security guard hospital, and he's still there today. And he has 7 kids. He's like, yeah. And his reasoning was, I don't talk about it. Quote was, I don't tell anybody about my time in Major League Baseball. And I took this job for the insurance for my family. He's like the American dream, this guy.
What a family man.
Love it. Oh, my God. And plus, here's the best. I even say
there's
that.
More.
There's more here. It's
13
like a
minutes
game.
on
I know. I don't care.
Brother.
I don't care. This is funny. If you don't think this is funny, click off the show or hit the 10-second button. I don't care. On the back of his baseball card, okay? Third show goes for the jug.
Early.
Okay. This is why anybody, you don't get this on the internet. You have to have the fucking card, right? Joey and his wife are parents of a son, Tanner. He enjoys being with friends and listening to music. That is the best. There's a guy in the major leagues. He enjoys sitting with.
So wait, that was his card. What year?
88.
All right. So after that, he had 6 more kids.
He had 6 more kids, and he's working in a hospital in Maui. Oh my God.
Yeah, hard life living out there.
I know that was a long segment, but I think it's great. If you don't like it, hit the 10-second button. I do not care. Which brings us to, of course, your friend and mine. I see Darryl Clark's enjoying my little segment here, which is good, and Tyson Hogan, 2 of my favorite Patreons. And we'll talk about Patreon. We're not mired yet. We're not mired. We're going to be promoting this more soon enough. But we're at 47. I want to give a shout out to Dave Ben, who I went to school with for 16 years. Alex Detzena, the #1 Patreon, who was trying to help me out last week with a microphone. And also, of course, Neil Goldhaber getting involved here from
Your
the
accountant.
Omni in Atlanta. He's an old Kappa Sig guy. He's a doctor, I think, in Florida.
No shit.
I haven't seen him in a while. And me and him the reason why Neil Goldhaber will always be a big part of my life. We had season tickets to the New York Knicks. They had a package, 8 games. You got every Wednesday night game, whatever. He's like, let's just do it. It was only I think it was $210. between a piece, so it was $420. You only got 8 games. Okay, that's how bad the Knicks were. And I remember we were in the furthest, except for the Staples Center All-Star game, the seats we had at the Garden were the furthest away humans can watch a basketball game. Flying from Newark, you can watch a Giant game better than the seats we had. And there was this guy in the league at the time. I thought he was just some flashy scorer. We bashed him. The Knicks beat by 10. Number 23, Michael Jordan was his name. And there's a young Jimmy Palumbo going, this guy, everybody's talking how good this guy is. This guy stinks. He's just a scorer. And the Knicks never beat him again after that. So, yeah. Neil Goldhaber, I know if you're listening, you'll love that. And, of course, one thing about all my Patreon members is that they have filthy carpets. And if you do, Dave, what happens when your carpets are dirty, when Miles is throwing shit all over the place and Stella's making a mess with perfumes and makeup and crayons?
Yeah, you would think that the old vacuum would do it, and it's just not good enough. It's not good enough.
You got to go to OxyMagicUSA.com here at Shea. Give Tom and Tom DeMeo a call. This stuff is great. It's all EPA, Green Seal. It dries quick. I use it. Dave's used it. The guy's great. And also, if you want to get a franchise, which is always in play for the Sturcio Palumbo family, you can even get involved with 0% financing and owning your own Oxy Magic USA. And we might do a live broadcast while we clean a carpet, which that would be the great. I wish we should do that anyway. Like wire ourselves up and go with some guy.
There's a will, there's a way. There's a way.
Live from Tun Ellen here, filthy carpet day here at the stadium. Go to OxyMagicUSA.com. That's OXY MagicUSA.com. Great company, great sponsor, good people. Also, Tom smoked me in pickleball last week, bad. I lost against him, and when I played with him, he's one of the better players. We lost 11-3. He was like, Jimmy, you suck. I'm like, I know, I wasn't into it. That'll do it here. Now, I feel it's important to talk about the Rutgers McScarlet McKnights. I'm wearing this shirt. I don't know why I'm aggravated. We lost to Michigan the other night. Lost by 3 to Michigan, and people are like, oh, we hung tough with Michigan. Well, Rutgers shot 32% from the floor, Dave. That's solid. 27% from 3. That's solid. 69% from the free throw line. There you go. Now, the top 3 pick in the draft, it's going to go like Cooper Flagg, and then
at the game he scored 40-something or no?
No, he was 3 for 15 from the floor, 0 for 7 from 3.
On his night.
And he had 3 turnovers. Here's another stat about on the Facebook pages, they hate me. No starter hit a 3-pointer. That's good, right? When you're setting up your lineup.
What is your record right now? I feel like they're having a bad year.
11-11.
Yeah.
We're in danger of not making the Big Ten tournament because 3 teams don't make it, okay?
Wait a minute. Is that a thing?
Yeah, the bottom 3 don't make it.
Oh, my God.
Okay?
Can you imagine? We're talking about this in the preseason. We're like, we can get in the
Final 4. Not me. Not me. If you,
you know what I mean? Like people.
No, I know people. I said they weren't going to make the tournament because 18-year-olds are 18-year-olds. And anybody who thinks like, Bailey Harper, it could be number 1. No, there's a guy named Cooper Flagg who is an NBA player now playing for Duke. No, the separation. That's why the NBA draft is stupid because it goes like there's like one great player and everybody else looks like Chris Gucci. So the players, 6 players that played in the game didn't hit a 3-pointer. They were 0 for 14 on a bunch of players.
This wasn't their night, Jimmy.
They're 11-11, 4-7 in league, and the only way they'll make the tournament is if they win the next 8 out of 9 games and finish 12-8.
Piece of cake.
That, my friends, is not happening. I don't understand. Maybe it's because I don't know the NBA, and everybody's like, "Oh no, Jimmy, you see that guy playing? He's generational." If you're a generational player, like Shaquille O'Neal was generational. Kobe and LeBron, we'll get to LeBron in a second. They went right from high school. So this generational, and your team's 11. Shaquille at LSU, he didn't win it. They didn't win it all. I don't know how they talk about that. Coach should have been fired an hour after that. How could you have a guy 7'8", 700 pounds, and I think they lost in the final 8. Someone knows more about Shaq than I do. Anyway. Noise my soul. We got 2 NBA players, the number 2, and I'm so glad the Knicks aren't picking in the top 7 because we would take one of these guys. They're an ad for stay another year in college, but they're going to make like $30 million, so you got to go. I would tell your son Miles to go. Anyway, I watched a little bit of the Knicks-Lakers game. I'm not a big fan of LeBron James. I can't stand him, actually, because he didn't come to the Knicks. That's why I hate him. But I got to tell you something. Okay. I got to really think about this because you're a Knicks fan. And first of all, anybody who thinks the GOAT, all this stuff, the GOAT is LeBron because he's 74 years old. And I watched an NBA game and highlights, and the best player on the court is still LeBron James. And he plays in a weird way. He's almost like, well, we're up by 16, so I can shut it off now because if they cut it to 6, I'll turn it back on again. He just dominated. It was embarrassing if you're a Knicks fan. He dominated the Knicks. And there's this tall, slow guy on the Knicks called Karl Anthony Towns.
Will you stop?
This guy, he stinks.
You better stop.
I'm telling you right now.
You lose all credibility when you say shit like that.
No, he stinks, bro. He's good on those games, those Tuesday night games when no one's watching.
Oh, my God.
When the Lakers come to the Garden, that's when you tell your wife, honey, I'm going to go early. It's the Lakers. LeBron. I'm going to play against LeBron maybe for the last time.
And now
they add another. Well, the Lakers only added a shitty guy. He's 25, best player in the league. What's his name? Luka.
Yeah.
And the whole thing. The Lakers, I'll tell you right now, Lakers could easily win the NBA championship.
So you want to talk about
easily?
You want to talk about Venditti driving off the road? So I hosted a gathering at my studio to watch some WWE.
I saw your photos.
Right. So we had a great time, but I'm on my way home. And I'm at a red light and I go on the Twitter and Sham, the new Woj, drops a bomb. And I'm like, wait. And it was late. It was like after midnight late. And I'm like, wait a minute, timeout. I was like, there's got to be a way. He was definitely hacked. Like something happened where somebody grabbed his Twitter and joke's on you. We traded
on you, right? I get it.
I'm like, yeah, it's not possible. And then he doubles down on it. And I'm like, all right, somebody still has his phone. Right? There's no effing way this trade gets through the commissioner or any like that. Luka Doncic is a you want to talk about the generational player. Now, have there been concerns about his weight gain and maybe his conditioning?
Yeah, that's another thing. They made it sound like first of all, he sounds like
he's fucking Zion. And I'm like,
sounds like you or I.
Right. It's like,
does he eat meat? I mean, what?
I hope so. You would hope. But like, here he is, like getting traded to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. And like I said, the Mavs traded away or got a first round pick and they didn't have to trade anything away. So now they're thinking, okay, but when it's Luka, man. It is one of the better scorers, better players in the game right now. And you're going to pair him up with LeBron James?
It's unbelievable.
What is happening?
First of all, and why don't the Knicks ever do like? I just makes
they
the
did
whole
that.
thing makes
No, the Knicks made the move. They got a Karl Anthony Towns. They put they got Bridges on their team. And listen, don't look. You can talk all the shit you want, but the New York Knicks had their best record in 30 plus years in the month of January because they're playing good basketball. You don't want to admit it. That's fine. You don't watch them.
They played a bunch. They played one good team.
It don't matter.
It does to me.
No, it doesn't.
This team is second round, 5 games they're out. They're not going any further. I'm so ready.
You're out of your
anyway.
Mind.
By the way, Anthony Davis is a great player, and the Dallas now, I think actually they're gonna. It's interesting.
We got Kyrie and AD. Kyrie and AD,
which can cause trouble in the playoffs.
Sure.
Better than what we have. So the anyway, I hate the Knicks now because they lost. You know what? I stopped into a bar for like 20 minutes. I was watching the game. Like it's not the worst. Oh, that Knicks game on. I have a beer. And I watched LeBron James completely like own everybody. Horrible. Knicks need a miracle. Rutgers need a miracle. So you got to go to chasingmiracles.com here. Get the patch. Stamina, energy, non-invasive. Why, Dave? If you pee in the cup, what happens when you're on the patch?
You will pass a PED test.
There you go, right there. Of course, Dave can't pee in the cup. We all know that. He's at the gym 7 times a week, trying to get out of the house, clear his mind, and take all kinds of things you shouldn't.
Oh, you just put me on blast, man.
That's it. ChasingMiracles.com. Go talk to Tommy and Donna. They got all kinds of cool stuff. You'll love it. Trust me on that. My mother's on it. Everybody's. I have them on now. Do them every day. 12 hours on, 12 hours off here, Jay. Janine Michaud, my sister and brother, they are skiing in Park City. They might be listening. There's always a chance. I want to give them a shout out. I wish I could make it. What the hell's going on here? I see that. My agent's calling. I'll get to that. My agent was actually calling. How great is that? They're out there, Park City. I wish them well. I wish I could have been there. It just didn't work out. More importantly, I have a big audition tomorrow. Now, I'm really thinking about, I usually say I just got a big audition and I don't really go into details. But I feel like I'm in a little bit of a slump right now. And I'm
9 times
debating.
out of 10, you can't give away the details. You know what I'm saying?
No one told me I couldn't.
Okay, I'm just saying.
But I'm wondering,
normally that's the reason why you don't get into details.
But like, if you're a coach and you're on a losing streak, don't you try to like, hey, we're going to have practices at night? You just try anything because you look like you're like the Knicks. You lost like 5 in a row to good teams. And Karl Anthony Towns is slow. So, what do you do there? So I have an audition tomorrow. It's for a commercial, and it's for I don't know if I should just jinx it this time. Go live. It's for a mattress firm. I'll probably not get it. That was just said. That's all it is for a mattress company. Leave it at that.
Big one.
And if it, of course, the cool thing is if I get it, it shoots in Austin, Texas, which is awesome. Why? Because my nephew's there. And he just had a little baby, and he's my godchild, so I get to see my great godchild, however you word that. So I'm hoping tomorrow goes well. And funny thing is, I need to hit this 3, bro. This is like 6 seconds ago, down by this one. Showbiz, I know we had a casting director on last week. I wish we would have talked about this more. I'll have her on again. Everybody talks about the journey and choices and believe in the truth of it. No. You know what it is? When you shoot the ball, it's got to go in. There's no off your back foot, partially deflected, off the corner of the thing. Yes. And there's no journey. Well, I'm 59 years old. The journey, playing the truth. Now, you got to go in the game. The assignment is, Jimmy, hit the 3-pointer to win the game. It's that simple. I don't care if I'm right for it. I look good. I have a perfect audition. I had the ball up in the air, had the good form, right? Everything wide open.
Uncontested.
Uncontested for 3. In and out, and the game's over. And that's how it is. And my life in showbiz, when you have a big audition, you got to bury the 3. I don't want to hear about traffic tomorrow, get into the city, what I'm wearing. Casting director it doesn't matter. Hit your 3-pointer and win the game. That's what I got to do tomorrow. Hopefully I booked the damn thing. And if not, I'll just give everyone in the casting room a cornholelevel.com. That's right. Jimmy Palumbo with a segue to an advertiser, cornholelevel.com. We all know that. Look at some of the scores. Okay, here it is right here, kids. You have trouble with your cornhole, just hook it right in there. Play a little cornhole. Dave and I are currently ranked 11th and 12th in the country. We played for a half hour last week. It's almost as easy as pickleball. And matter of fact, I saw an ad that came up of some old lady on TikTok. She was like 90 playing cornhole at a nursing home. She buried 3 of them. She could barely walk back to the thing. I'm like, there's proof. It's pickleball with a whatever you call it, a beanbag. That's what we used to call it. Anyway, cornholelevel.com. Go check them out. They got all kinds of stuff there. Very cool. 20% off your order if you put in JP Show here from the Omni. All right. Well, first of all, a couple things. I'm watching the show. Are you a history buff at all? It's not your.
You know, it's so funny. I had this conversation with my father last night at dinner because he loved Primeval or American Primeval or whatever. And I'm just like, Dad, I just couldn't, like, it was a good show. I just couldn't get into it. And he goes, man, like, those people were fucking crazy. Like the railroads and all this other shit and pioneers. I can't get into those shows. I need a little modern kick to something.
That's why entertainment is what it is. Anybody who says, how could you? That's stupid. You're not into it. Some people aren't into Game of Thrones because they're like, I'm not into that sci-fi stuff. And some people
I feel like if I miss the show and I'm like way behind, I'm like, I'm not going to catch up. You know what I mean? Like,
but I used to be that way too.
However, I do have to interrupt myself because I was probably the last Italian American in the history of people to run through The Sopranos.
Right. When you're into a show, like, you don't feed your kids because you're watching the show. Like your kids you're watching the show and your kids are in danger. Like they're putting their hand in the oven. You're like, hang on. Like, I get it. I've been there.
They're about to whack this guy. Hold on.
When I was watching Breaking Bad, I got so into it. It was like 5:30 in the morning. What am I doing? It's crazy.
One of my favorites.
Anyway, and one of the rare shows where Better Call Saul, which everybody say, at the beginning, and now they're reading reviewers. I just read something in the Hollywood Reporter. Better Call Saul, in many ways, we are tied with Breaking Bad.
Really? I never got into that one.
Ooh, dude. It's really good.
And I like that guy. I like Saul. Like, I like him as an actor. I like
put that on your list. But those shows you got to give time. They're very slow developing, and all of a sudden you're up till 5:30. But this show on HBO Max, it came out, I don't know, 15 years ago with Paul Giamatti, John Adams. It's all about the beginning of the country revolution, the Constitution.
Paul
Jefferson.
Giamatti, that's the kid from Boiler Room, right?
Right. And Paul Giamatti's the one from the movie with oh God, he's what else is he?
Sneaky Pete. That's not Giamatti.
No. Paul Giamatti. First of all, he's the old commissioner of baseball's son, Giamatti, who banned Steinbrenner and shit like that.
Shit.
But the Paul Giamatti's been in 100 things. He was in that show.
You know what? I know exactly.
You know who he is.
Sorry. Yep.
He plays John Adams. The guy from Game of Thrones, Stannis Baratheon, plays Thomas Jefferson. It's all about how the country was formed. It's awesome. And I like when you watch it, you're like, wow, like we really shouldn't have been the United States of America. we didn't have
Man, we're real pieces of shit, aren't we?
it was like 10 guys in a room, like, well, we should get together. Britain's being a pain. Like it was very like, and like a lot of the things, New York and New Jersey, because the port, like almost every vote, New York, New Jersey, no, we shall stay with Britain. Like New York side, we voted against the United States. Classic from day one, New Jersey was fucked up. But the acting in it's tremendous. Laura Linney just hitting threes, and they also showed like the bloodletting. First of all, great theory. When you got sick back then, they just cut you open and let your blood drip out until you were almost dead. Then they sealed it up and they hoped like, well, he'll regenerate.
It's an oil change. That's all it is.
Exactly. First of all, I would have been so pro bloodletting. I would have been like, no, you're sick. Get all the blood out of you.
I had a friend always tell me that. And he used to donate blood like once a month. I'm like, why the hell do you do that? He goes, dude, it's an oil change. You're getting rid of all the shit and the gum, and you rejuvenate and you're good to go. And I'm like, I never really thought of it.
It's all false. What your friends just giving you.
Yeah, I know. It's all bullshit.
And then anyway, so I got a kick out of that. And just the way how they discussed the Constitution and Jefferson writing the Declaration. It's just cool shit. I still got a bunch of episodes to go. Totally. Also, the SNL movie. Did you watch that? Talk about sex, drugs, rock and roll. How the Lord Michaels, you got to give him a monument. You do, because that show
was the 50th or 75th anniversary. Which one's coming up? The big ones. 50th anniversary is coming up on the 15th, I believe.
There's a movie out now about it, and the acting's great, and you just realize how screwed up everybody was. Drugs, partying. So is
everybody being played by somebody else?
Yeah, there's no original. It's
so like somebody's playing like Farley and shit. Like
no. The early years. The first. It's all about leading up to the first episode that aired.
Oh, okay.
And what blew me away is it was a live television sketch show. Never really been done like that. The Tonight Show was done live, but they just had like a little chair and a desk, and again, this was like old school live television with 8 cast members, costume changes. An hour, 2 hours before the show, the NBC executive was like, "Oh, Lawrence, we'll let you know we're gonna show an old Johnny Carson. Probably, we don't think you're ready." So there was like an hour left. He's out of the street looking for cast members, and John Belushi was all messed up. They didn't know if he was going to come back. Like, holy! And then the show went on, and the rest is history. So very cool. Check that out. Got to give Lorne Michaels credit. I met him a couple times, but when I did my show live on tape, he is the man at NBC still, even though nobody watches SNL anymore, but their ratings are like great. You know what it is? It's just like it's a dinosaur. It's like an old. Not even that. It's just like it's not the original. Obviously, it's not the original cast, but like they had a '90s Bulls run. You know what I mean? Like they had some freaking heavy hitters on that show, and now you're still getting that from time to time. You'll have a good guest. Like Bill Burr was on there the other night, and I'm just like, dude, he don't ever miss. He's great. He's great. No, listen, the sketches are too long. Every now and then one is funny, but it's great for social media because they just show you the funny part of the sketch. Yeah. Of course, don't forget, if you're anybody out there, if you're trying to get a website done, my new website, please, by the way, go to jimmypalumbo.com, buzz around my new website. And also, please go to the merch section. There's all kinds of fun things on there. I have it set up. 706 jerseys, getting involved, Tacky Perfect, the Jimmy Palumbo Show, all kinds of stuff. And but if you need it done, your website, listen, everybody's probably has a shitty website. I'm sure of it because I had one for years. Go to One Bite Creative. Talk to Brian. His number is 323 316-8064. Give him a call. Let me tell you something. This guy is a badass because anybody can do the technical website shit. It's the thought process. It's the branding. Well, Jimmy, what are we doing here? Love him for it. One by Creative. I told him I'd be talking about his show for a while. Which brings us to a little sad note here. I feel I have to. I want to bring it up. I want to bring this up. My father-in-law passed away the other day at 90 years old, and
he won. He won.
Yeah, he lived a good life. But I tell you, the more I talked to him. He had 2 daughters, and they don't care about like sports and TV and stuff like that. But I had many conversations with him. But this guy was a badass, man. In the days back in the day, there was 3 networks: ABC, NBC, and CBS, and each company had like 3 guys who were badasses. So there was 9 guys running television up until like 1984. Okay, 9 guys.
Fox came around,
right? Yeah, and then there was 12 in the beginning. Okay, so
right.
And you're talking about the president, VP, CFO, stuff like that. Now, Michael Patrick Mallardi, he first of all he grew up in was born in East Harlem. He went to a military academy school, so he's one of those like up at 6 a.m., no fun ever, that kind of thing. And he went to Notre Dame, where he was magna cum laude there. Now, it's interesting to know he was a football player and a baseball player and a basketball, all sports. He was like all city, all world. And back then, like Fordham was a big football team. I'm talking about the 1949, 1950. Mm-hmm. And he was probably going to go to Fordham on a full ride as a punter and a running back and a defensive end back then. Like he played everything. But he hurt his shoulder his senior year. Nowadays, probably surgery, you're out 6 weeks, you're back. But back then, they just said, oh, your shoulder hurts. And he couldn't, any contact, like he would crumble to the floor. But he still was able to play through it. No helmets, the leather helmets, we're talking that kind of world. But he was one of the best punters in the tri-state area as well. So he made a great decision for the rest of his life. He said, you know what? If I go to Fordham, I'm not going to be able to play. Let me go to Notre Dame, where there was interest in him playing there as well. Let me go there and get a good education. And he did. But he told me one day I would go to practices. Think about that. You're a good player. Now you're out of school, Notre Dame football team. And Notre Dame was just as big then as they are now. And he would watch the punting guy. He swore, he goes, all I had to do is tap the coach on the shoulder and say, I'm way better than your punter. But he just didn't have the guts to do that. He swore till his dying day that he would have started for Notre Dame. But he started with ABC in 1956. And he ended up, he also was at MGM for a while, Radio Press International. And
what did he do?
He was on the finance side, on the business side of things, behind and not in front of the camera. He ended up being VP of corporate planning, and then he became president of ABC Records, just like all the big networks had record companies. He ran that. He has some funny stories there with Lou Wasserman, another legend, arguments with him, which is great to hear. He was ABC's financial officer for 20 years. Got to remember, 3 networks. That was it. So it was a big job. He also became one of the executive vice presidents, and he was elected to the board of directors in 1976. So he was a complete badass. And then ABC got bought out by Cap Cities, blah, blah, blah. And he ended up being, a lot of people lost their job, but not him. They kept him. And he also, he did retire in 96, but he was also founding trustee of J.P. Morgan Mutual Funds. He was on the board of directors of an oil company. He was all these different things. But the funny things to me, he was involved with how broadcast networks and cable work together. In other words, ABC puts the Love Boat on. Okay, I'm dating myself, but they put Desperate Housewives on, and fees got to come back and forth. They have to have a license fee to air that. He set that all up. He was in the negotiating, setting that up, and he was the one in negotiating. Okay, we're going to get ESPN on the cable. That's fine, but you're going to give us He created ESPN 2 and 3, and that was him. He also set it up in such a way where it would benefit the networks. And he even told me just 3 weeks ago that, now it's all screwed up, with the streaming, but it's the same price. Everybody's got to protect their fees and make money on it. He also was involved in when Howard Cosell, at the end of his time at ABC, he was just on the radio years after Monday Night Football, and he fired him, which is funny. He also, this guy's a badass. He also, he was quoted to a guy, "Hey, there's a young gal in Chicago named Oprah. Keep an eye on her." Classic. And if you read anything about in media about Barbara Walters, she was the first $1 million. She got $500,000 from the news of ABC, and $500,000 from the entertainment, because she did those things. And they were deciding $1 million was a lot of money back then. And everybody in the room, and there was only one vote that said she's not worth the money. And who was that? Michael Maloney. That's right. Also, here's another funny. Remember back in the day, ABC used to run all the Olympics. ABC had a big contract with the Olympics.
Sure.
Okay. And then Mike, CFO, would start to look at the spreadsheet, and he would be like, "Hey guys, like we lose a lot of money on this. Like every Olympics, we lose millions and millions of hard-earned money. We lose it." And everybody said, no. We promote our shows. He's like, no. We got to write checks to some Olympic committee, and we don't even, I'm not allowed to look at those books, and blah, blah, blah. The only Olympics they made money on was the 84 Olympics, because it was in LA, and they were able to control because a lot of the operations were out there. And amazing. He was like, and when NBC bought the rights, he was like, "Oh, they're going to lose their shirt." And now he realized that he was like the no guy. Like, what are we doing that for? He's the guy you want, like, on your side.
He's you.
He's me. He's like, get off my lawn. But I used to love hearing him tell stories about that kind of thing, because it was really about the days of television that are long gone. And then, of course, Disney bought them out, and he realized that he was not L.A. Disney kind of guy.
He retired before you hit your stride, because I'm saying if he's involved while you're in your
prime, I came years later.
But I'm saying, like, if he was still involved and a young strapping Jimmy Palumbo got onto the network, so I feel like he
could have helped. But here's the best part: years later, he was retired. We were working on a pitch for possibly the ESPN with my buddy Mike Stafford. So I told him, he's like, "Well, hang on, I'll give you some names. Call them up. You can mention my name." Okay. So I passed this along to the producer. Producer calls me back a half hour later, says, "Jimmy, what names did you give me?" I'm like, "I don't know." My father goes, "These are the founders of ESPN." Like, it would be like you got a traffic ticket, and I gave you the name Biden.
He's the
Biden,
E, he's
Trump,
the S, he's the P.
It's like, what? And Mike goes, "I didn't know what to say to the guy." The guy was like, "Oh, you're doing a little show?" Like, it's like, calling up Trump to get out of a traffic ticket in Burlington County. I just threw Burlington County under the bus. Anyway, big Notre Dame guy, big Yankee fan, love going to Montauk. I very sad for the families, but my daughter losing her pop-pop. And I just wanted to share a little bit about him. I used to have a lot of fun with him because, sitting there talking about sports, he believed like Judge should choke up and stuff like that. And then when he had that big year, he's convinced he listened to him somehow by moving up to the plate.
I mean, I got to assume that there was times where him and your father communicated, right? Like,
well, about baseball, yes, but they were two different people.
I know what I'm saying, but like, imagine them sitting in there.
But here's the great thing: my dad played organized baseball in the 50s in New York. It's before Little League. This is before, what do you call that? Those
like AAU or
AAU. Before that, it was you organized your team. My dad had a team for there was an Oldsmobile dealership called Pace Olds in Queens, and you had to run around and get sponsorship to buy uniforms, and it was a much bigger deal than
those bail bonds.
Yeah, exactly right. And they played in the I think it was called the Queens Alliance League or something like that. So over the years, talking to him, he was like, I said, my dad, and all of a sudden he was like, I played in that league. So my dad did play in his league. That's so funny. And so did Michael Maloney's older brother, Joe, played in that as well, who was also very successful in the aeronautics world. But as a matter of fact, he bragged. He goes, yeah, it was my brother's team. I was like 16. I played once. I was like, oh, yeah, I played like a doubleheader. I was like, how'd you do? He's like, how did I do? I was 12 for 13, 4 home runs, 15 RBI.
And that's like, how Johnny Trino
was born from that. Yeah, it's so funny.
That's really
but he was a good guy. I was able to be with him kind of towards the end, and I respected him. And shout out to everybody in the family and especially my daughter. And that's it. Michael Maloney, of course, Absolute Eyewear, Janine Jaybird over there in Park City. I heard it's raining and no snow in Park City. That sucks. But of course, Charles Oakley skiing with them, which is nice. I knew I'd get you on that one. Go to Absolute Eyewear, 42 Main Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey, 732-326-3937. And go check them out. And because they're great. This show might be a little shorter because I have running around doing some stuff. So I have my audition tomorrow. That's cool. The Knicks suck. Rutgers sucks.
Well, I we got to know just because it's officially Super Bowl week, right? And I know that a lot of people are like the Chiefs and the Eagles. Listen, it's still going to draw the biggest numbers in the world. It's still going to be viewed by millions and millions and millions of people.
Correct.
So I don't give a rat's ass if you can look, as a Dallas Cowboys enthusiast, as a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, I am rooting heavily for the Kansas City Chiefs here.
Me too.
The entire playoffs, I was yelling anybody but Mahomes. Anybody but Mahomes.
Me too.
And now we're here. So
listen, my nephew
and Mahomes.
my nephew's a big fan, and so is half my family now because of him. And but I'm just tired of the Chiefs. They just like, oh my God, they just 18 seconds ago, they just marched downfield.
I got a question before you make your prediction.
I'm tired. I'm a Giant fan. We stink. We haven't. We're a dead dog. And then I got to watch Barkley now have what some people say, which I didn't do. Please help me with this. Some people are like, well, Barkley had the greatest season of any running back ever. Like, that can't be true, right?
No, I mean, he didn't break
between yards, catches,
all-purpose touchdown. There's arguments out there. No bullshit. There are arguments out there that there are Philadelphia Eagles enthusiasts who say that after one season, Saquon Barkley will go down as a top 3 Eagle of all time, just based off one season. Now you got to think about that. You got to be like, Reggie White. You got Randall Cunningham, Donovan McNabb, guys like that. But I mean, is it hard to even?
What about those guys in the 50s like Bednar?
Yeah, no, I get all that, but I'm saying if this continues, if he wins the Super Bowl and now next year he comes back like a bat out of hell again, by the way, gets engaged over the weekend and shit. Like, this guy's having an all-world year. So the Giants fans that are
brutal
mad
for us.
Listen, the Giants fans.
I don't dislike them though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That was my point. Giants fans can be mad at the Giants. The Tishes and the Maras and everybody that are running the organization. But for Saquon Barkley's sake, a guy that was a poster boy for your team, you're not rooting for the Eagles to win it. But if they do win it, you kind of hope that Saquon's the MVP, right? Like the guy, I don't.
No, first of all, I really disagree with you. And tremendous PR by Barkley's camp. He was never signing with the Giants.
I disagree.
Never. The Giants offered him 3 times.
But they made it apparent. They made it apparent that it was like, okay, this is the budget we have for running back. If he wants to play ball, let's play ball. But if not, it
wasn't much. They offered him big money a year before. He said no.
I'm well aware.
Barkley left the Giants because he was in the room, saw nothing but shit.
Well,
okay. And by the way, you got to remember there's so much to this. He's from Pennsylvania.
I'm well aware. Penn State guy, I get it.
Penn State guy, Eagle guy. His dad's a Cowboy fan, though. And in other words, he went like, what should I do, Dad? Should I take $1 million more and play for the best offensive line maybe in the last 5 years? Or should I sign with the Giants, who I'm pretty sure they're going to win 4 games?
So
it was not the Giants' fault. It was Barkley himself, but it's been spun into this because of that show Hard Knocks, which made the Giants look horrific.
Yeah, it didn't do anybody any favors.
It didn't do it, but he didn't sign for much more than what the Giants offered.
All right, so in that same breath, today, some breaking news from the NFL is that in Cleveland, Myles Garrett, the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year for the last 10 years, it feels like, even though, he hasn't won them all. But Myles Garrett, one of the biggest game-wrecking machines has requested a trade from Cleveland. Now, he went public with this, with a statement on Instagram, and he said, and I quote, well, I'm paraphrasing, but sort of quoting, "My career was never going to be Cleveland to Canton. It was going to be Super Bowl champion to Canton. He's tired of the shit in Cleveland. He wants out. He goes, I'm looking at this team and I'll never win a Super Bowl here."
And so now there's two.
If Barkley did the same thing, then it makes sense. I get that.
But that's why I don't blame the Giants as much. Well, two teams we know he's not going to, are the Giants and the Cowboys, because it's nowhere near the Super Bowl.
You imagine Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett? My God. God, what a pipe dream that was.
Parsons will disappear as well till the Cowboys are in. They got to regroup there. And even the Jets. First of all, the Jets hired the head coach before the GM. I don't mind. I remember he was a player, but
yeah, same.
But you got to hire the GM first.
Well, that just goes to show you that the ownership has a lot of stroke over there, and they weren't even going to let them, like, here's the guy, and like in the interview process, like you're going to GM this team, you're going to sign the right players, but oh, by the way, your head coach is Aaron Glenn. Like and they have to agree to that. There's probably somebody that went out there and like, you know what, I would have went a different way. I don't want this job, right? So I think it could go either way. Now, again,
I believe in, maybe again, I'm old school. Owner hires the GM,
and the GM
hires the coach.
Yeah, no, I get
it. And the coach hires the coaches, and that's the hardest part of the job. You got to go into a room and say, "Hey guys, I'm so sorry, you're all gone." Now, some coaches now a little bit more in college than the pros. That's why sometimes you got to judge a coach. Sometimes coaches have a staff, but they don't get their full staff till about 2 years in. They're like, I'll work with this guy, but I really want my boy Sturgio, who's coaching at Texas A&M. I want to get him in here.
So they, for the Cowboys' sake, it just so happened that everybody was on their last year of their deals, and a lot of guys left. So it's like when Brian Schottenheimer comes in there and he hires, Eberflus from the Bears as his DC, and an offensive line coach from the Arizona Cardinals. I think Schottenheimer's hiring his staff. Like, they lost a lot of guys. Like Mike Zimmer's done.
Who did the Cowboys hire as a coach? I forget already.
Brian Schottenheimer.
I thought he was who's the GM? The
GM's been Jerry Jones.
There's no GM there at all, not even in name.
Why do you think we're in this peril? The GM.
I thought there was a guy. I thought there was a guy in name there.
No,
and he got fired. So it's just Jerry, the coach, and Jerry Jones is how old?
80-something.
Oh my God. My mother would do a better job.
Just prepare not to win until he's dead.
I know Jerry calls the shots, but I thought there was a guy there in name.
No.
Wow. There's not even a phone guy. You talk to Jerry and his fat.
That's why like the funny joke was like, Dallas is searching for a head coach and Jerry Jones is going to put the headset on next. They're like,
oh my God.
He's like, I'll do it all. God damn it. They're like, oh, okay, buddy. You do that. That's
insane. But yeah, so I'm going to predict.
Yeah, who you got? Give me a score, too.
Well, okay, sometimes Super Bowls are blowouts, but it seems lately they haven't been. But there was a stretch there where every Super Bowl is a blowout. I think there's no way the Chiefs can blow out the Eagles. There is a way for the Eagles to blow out the Chiefs. I really believe that. But I think, you know what? There's like 5 Hall of Famers on the Chiefs. And I think Mahomes is going to win the game, and they're going to win.
Yeah, they're
going to win like one of those like 35-31.
Yeah, my heart says that the both defenses are relatively okay. Steve Spagnuolo's done a great job for the Chiefs. The Eagles have played really, really good defense as well. So I don't see it being like this shootout type thing, but I do think that both teams got some serious speed and some serious just good playmaking ability. But give me the Chiefs 24-20. And win their third. And my only last question to you, Jimmy, is that Tom Brady is calling this game with Kevin Burkhardt.
Right.
I got to assume that next year, as Tom Brady is settling into his ownership role, whether it be small or large, with the Las Vegas Raiders,
he can't do the games.
How is that even possible?
Well, it depends on what his ownership. They don't reveal everything. Well, he may own 1%.
He's been very adamant on the coaching hires and all this other shit, like giving his 2 cents. So, like, think about it.
I have to look into really how much.
Yeah, because think about it. Like when
it's a conflict of interest. You can't.
You would assume so all year this year. Where's the conflict now?
He stinks anyway doing the games.
I kind of like him. I
You
kind of
do?
like Brady.
I
Yeah,
think-
I think he breaks it down very well. I mean, there's nobody smarter than Tom Brady right now.
I
as
think
far as
I think
football.
Romo's better. I think Phil Simms was better. I
Romo
think
fell out of favor with a lot of people. I think Romo started to coast a little bit. Romo was
Well,
like, "You're
listen.
giving me all this money to just say, here we go, Jim." You know what I mean? Like, okay, fine.
But you know what? Listen, the network. First of all, I think the networks. I wouldn't pay anybody that kind of money because no one cares about the announcers. However,
I'll never get a job.
you cannot hire. You can only hire a head coach or a quarterback to be in the booth because the quarterback knows every play. They
That's
know
what I'm saying.
every. Like Eli Peyton Manning on that ESPN sister show
Great.
they do during the games.
Great.
That's especially like me. I'm a Giant fan. I'm not this fantasy jerk off guy rooting for some receiver on the Chargers. I like, and I'm watching a game I have no interest in. I like watching Eli because Eli and Peyton, they break it down. They're ahead of like the other, and they hate injuries. They don't want to see it. I think it's great. But anyway, yeah, Chiefs. Darryl Clark's got 38-31 Chiefs.
It's a hell of a high-scoring game. No defense, it looks like.
What did I say? 34-31?
Yeah,
I don't know
about all that.
I'll tell you what. The only way, okay, this is going to be shitty what I'm about to say, boy. If the Eagles are going to win, okay, here's how I want it to go. I want Barkley to have like 31 yards, okay? I want him to limp off in the third quarter.
Oh, you're rooting for injuries, Jimmy? Come on.
And I said limp off. I didn't say he's out for next year. And I want, if the Chiefs are going to get smoked, I want to see like those sacks where like Mahomes is getting spun around, and you know what I'm talking about, like the old like the what's that? Troy Aikman's rookie year on the Cowboys, where it's like whoa jailbreak. You know what I mean? Because wouldn't it be great just to see like that helmet that sits high and Mahomes like spun around and like and Mahomes is getting up slow here.
The helmet that Mahomes wears looks like a strainer that you would use for when you do pasta. He's got all the little mini holes on it. I was like, what is it? And my wife actually asked me, she goes, why is his helmet so high? And I was like, well, it's because he's a Pert Plus enthusiast, so he has to make sure the hair stays good. When he takes his helmet off, when he's like, oh, take the helmet off. And look at those locks.
I want to see shots of Taylor Swift like, you know, by the way, Kelsey, he should retire.
Did you see her at the Grammys last night?
I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch the Grammys either.
I watched the Grammys. I know 3 songs.
I'm on board with that because I don't know any of this shit either. I'm not as cultured as a lot of people, but Taylor Swift showed up to the Grammys last night. Fucking, she looked like she ran a 4-1, and I don't think she doesn't. I don't find her that.
I don't either.
But when she showed up last night.
Well, I'll Google that.
Like Travis Kelce, my goodness, good for you.
I know. Well, that's another thing. My mother, oh my God, Taylor Swift put Travis Kelce on the map. I'm like, nah, Ma, not really.
I mean, it's a little bit of a give and take, but yeah.
And I still say, how about if you know who should be the cockiest couple in the world?
Mahomes and his wife.
No, not even close. Mr. and Mrs. Kelce. Hey, just think, he walks into the diner on a Monday morning, okay? 2 years from now, he walked into a diner. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Kelce? What's going on? How are the kids? Not bad. My one son, of course, he was with the Eagles for 11 years. He's a guaranteed Hall of Famer.
Oh, you're talking about the parents?
Yeah, the parents.
Oh, yeah.
And my other son, she's
in the Chunky Soup commercials now, dude.
Yeah,
she got it.
Yeah, he's with Taylor, and he'll be in the Hall of Fame in a year. Yeah, listen, we had some kids.
All right. Isn't that maddening, though, for you? For somebody who's always looking to book these big roles, right? The Chunky Soup.
Oh, no. Now they're using Travis Kelce instead of me.
Well, not even that. They're using Travis Kelce's mother in the commercial. And I'm just like, dude, wait, what am I fucking auditioning for?
I would be so good. I would be so good as Travis Kelce's dad in the spot. That would be wonderful. I would be like, but think about it, you have. I don't know how many kids they have. Maybe they have more than 2. But if they only have,
I think it's the only 2 golden childs because you know what? If there is a third, boy, do I feel bad for him.
What does he do? Like play checkers or something?
It's like when Archie had his kids. It was like Peyton.
Right.
Fucking.
Can you imagine if they had a third young?
And then there was Cooper, and nobody really gives a shit about Cooper. And now his son is going to be a star.
He's going to be a number 1 draft pick. He hasn't played it down yet. Can't start in Texas. He's going to be on the Giants next year.
Yeah,
horrible. No, but can you imagine like if the Kelce's had a third younger son? Dad, I am not playing football. Okay, hang on, son. Let's think about this. Now, your older brothers had some success at football. Yeah. Or you just go like, all right, Your choice.
What's that? You want to be a piano? Okay,
yeah, you
go fucking nuts. Like,
you know what'll happen though? Oh, you want to play in a band? All of a sudden, next thing you know, 8 years from now at the Grammys, ladies and gentlemen, the Kelseys.
It's like the fucking Partridge Family all of a sudden.
Travis, the Kelsey brothers, of course, they're in the Hall of Fame, and the younger brother, Grammy award winning.
It's one of those things. Everything.
That's magic sperm over there, man.
I know.
Anyway, I don't mind. I can't root for the Eagles. I don't know.
Who could? Nobody can.
And any Giant fan rooting for Barkley, I'm sorry. No, enough. No. God, the Giants are so shitty. And they're not going to be good. But you know what? You know what I say? There's only one way.
You know who's going to win MVP? In case you want to put a little small wager.
The kicker?
This guy's going to win.
There it is right there. That's it. Myers.
That's called a callback, ladies and gentlemen.
Joey Myers here at Shea. All right. Well, I think the Chiefs are going to win by a couple of points. And I'm going to be miserable. I don't even know what I'm doing for the Super Bowl yet. And that's it. That's our show. Shout out to Michael Millardi and my family, and also to if anybody's listening out there in Park City in the rain, God bless America. And I got a private show this week. Oh, I got April 18th in Avenel at the APAC in Avenel. I got to start selling tickets for that. So get your ass. Anybody listening, go check out that. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, Dave, maybe you'll be there. I don't know. Maybe I'll get Gucci to come out.
Yeah, of course I'll be there. I'm told you there's nobody that can introduce you better than me. So
I might have you. We should just do the show. Just do this show on stage. And watch people file out here.
I think this was stand up. It is technically. Stand up.
All right. And what else? Have anything else to say? That's about it. Super Bowl week, Super Bowl Sunday Bowl Sundays, and I will talk to you everybody soon. Thanks for listening at a different time. And next week, I'll have a guest. I'll figure it out. Maybe Eddie Zucker, Rutgers guy.
Sounds like a plan. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.
We'll see you. Good evening.